The following program is intended for mature audiences.
TBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
and you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
You've got bad news.
Yes, Greg, our Orlando Apollos lost to the Arizona Hotshots on a last-second false start penalty, meaning that the Orlando Apollos are no longer undefeated and the 10-0 dream is dead.
Honest to God, that was the first thing I was going to ask you about when we started tonight was, are the Orlando Apollos still undefeated? I'm not kidding.
No, they're not. They fell to the freaking Hotshots.
The Hotshots. All right. Well, what
on a last-second false start penalty.
Ain't that a bitch?
Who's talking about either of these teams anyway? You know Memphis is going to make a last to first run now that they're going to get.
Yeah.
I was watching a replay of the Birmingham Iron and I think it was the Atlanta Legends earlier today. I think was who was on.
No, are you talking about the last game Birmingham played? It was Birmingham, San Diego.
Or I'm sorry, San Diego. That's what it was, right? San Diego. Yeah.
The fact that you can recall these off the top of your head, I don't know if that's dedicated or sad, but
Mike and I are down, man, for the AAF.
Oh, I'm all in on the AAF.
Me too, man.
Let's do it.
Go Apollos, baby.
Take aim.
I think I'm more excited about the Apollos than I am the OBJ trade with the Browns.
I mean,
just
okay, I'm just going to say the Apollos are the best football team in Florida currently, all right? Like, just...
Yeah, probably. Probably.
And the Fleet are outdrawing the Chargers, so...
And while we're talking about the Alliance, big news, Johnny Football, now a member of the Memphis Express, right?
He is.
Yeah. Only a couple steps away from the Omaha Beef, fellas. He's headed there, I'm telling you. It's just a matter of time.
The brilliant thing about it, and by brilliant I mean tragic, was that if Memphis had passed on him, he would have fallen to Utah in the waiver wire.
Oh.
I mean not Utah, Salt Lake, like the Salt Lake Stallions. Could you imagine Johnny Manziel playing in Utah?
Oh, my God. Johnny Manziel amongst the Mormons.
Apparently, because the way the AAF works is they allocate you based on the closest team to where you played college ball.
Right.
That would have basically put that San Antonio had first dibs on Johnny Manziel. But San Antonio passed. And so it went to the waiver wire, which was last to first, and last place was Memphis, and second to last was Utah. And I was like, "Come on, Memphis, you don't need him. Come on, Christian Hackenberg could still work out for you guys."
Right?
oh boy.
Well,
come on.
Seriously, what do you guys think of? Because the USFL did that too, and I think some of the other secondary leagues have done the regional thing. What do you guys think about that? Where they tried to make it so local players. I get
sense.
it. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Do you think I could work at the
you want
NFL?
something for people to latch onto.
Right. So, if a Columbus team obviously would probably draw better if it were filled with ex-Buckeyes and players, Big Ten players that we're familiar with.
An Ohio State alumni team, people would come out to see that.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to be, and I kind of get it that it makes sense, especially for a league like the AAF, which just started out. So. Yeah.
You don't need a real draft.
Right. And plus, none of these teams have what we would say, roots. They haven't been around for a long time. There's not a tradition of people being fans of these. So you got to do something to get people excited or to get people to care. And it's and I mean, I saw this when I was in Orlando for the Apollos game I caught a few weeks back. Where it was I'm a Florida Gators fan, and I know this guy from UF.
Right. Yeah.
It just kind of. I think it's a good idea. I don't think it's something that would work in a top flight pro league.
No.
Not currently. I mean, it's what the NHL used to do. Mm-hmm. It's why the Canadiens won every single Stanley Cup they could.
The NHL did that too. I did not know that the NHL did a regional thing. That's wild.
Back in the original days, yeah. I forget what year the modern draft was instituted. I can look that up. But, yeah, for a long time, that's why the Habs were always stacked with all these French-Canadian studs, the Henri Richards, the Jean Beliveaux, because they had nowhere else to go. And so they signed these kids at 17, 18, and they were Habs for life.
I think baseball did that too. That's part of the reason why the Yankees were always so stacked, because they just had more money to sign players. I don't remember. I could be wrong about this because I never, in all my baseball history studies, I never dug into like player acquisition that much. But I think back in the 30s and 40s, it was pretty much a free for all.
Yeah, the NHL draft was only instituted in 1963.
Yeah,
so
I think the baseball draft was later than that, even like 67 maybe.
And how many wonderful anecdotes the modern NHL draft has given us, from that one time in the 80s when Henri Richard was technically eligible because the league lost his retirement papers. Or when the Buffalo Sabres, just to prank everyone, just drafted some fake person from Japan.
Who was it that drafted the dead guy?
The MLB draft was instituted in 1965.
Okay, so I said 67, 65. I was close.
I just love the idea that when ESPN first came to the NFL about like airing the draft, the NFL was like, nobody's going to watch that.
Oh, I know. It was crazy. They thought they were nuts.
It's just some owners listing off names. Nobody's going to care.
Well, it had never been presented as a TV show before either, but to ESPN's credit, they really figured out a way to make something that really should be pretty boring to watch actually pretty exciting. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty impressive from a television production standpoint, because really, you're right. It's guys handing a card to another guy. That's what it is. That's all it is.
I mean, I'd argue the NFL draft's the only one that's worked.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, without question.
The NHL
because
draft is just...
The NHL draft, it's so funny because when we do get coverage of it down here now, and it's usually just the TSN simulcast. But the NHL draft is relevant only to your hardcore Canadian hockey fan who follows Junior and is
and knows who all these kids are.
Well, the big problem with baseball and hockey drafts are that rare is the Connor McDavid or the Austin Matthews or a guy like that that's going to step right in and go play in the NHL. You might get
you draft these guys and it's like, I have legitimately tried on multiple occasions to be interested in the NHL draft. I have, and I grew up in a town that has a junior team, so I know a decent bit about junior hockey, and so I know who some of these kids are, and I've tried to care, and I can't. Yeah. I just can't, because, you're right, Greg. It's like somebody will get drafted, and then, the commentary is like, oh, well, they're going to send him down to the AHL for a season or two, and it's like,
Exactly. In baseball, whoever the first pick, I mean, maybe every once in a great while, in the NHL too, you'll get a guy that's going to go like a Mike Trout. Mike Trout might have actually played in the minors a little bit, though, didn't he?
Mike Trout played like a year in Double-A.
There you go. So even a guy like Mike Trout, but in basketball and football, there are guys. You get a guy like Zion Williamson this year when the NBA draft happens. I mean, that guy, he's going to go straight from the draft to being a starter on an NBA team, and it just doesn't happen rarely in the NHL, and even more rarely in baseball. And that's why they don't work, because you get a guy. Go ahead. It's
getting less and less uncommon in the NHL. Well, you do have these kids that are coming into the league early because the way the salary cap works now. Teams are more they're more encouraged to kind of bring these young kids up because they're cheap labor. Yeah, and a lot of them are so talented that they can play right away. So you're seeing less of it in the NHL, and then in the NBA, there's impact guys in the top. 5 picks, maybe
10
and then
at the most.
Then it doesn't really matter at that.
I mean, the NBA draft is fantastic for the Zionist draft wheel alone. So.
Yeah. Well, the NFL, that's why it works, because you've got 32 teams. Every first-round pick is going to make at least a little bit of an impact on their team. But, especially in the top 10 picks, you've got a lot of guys that can really swing a franchise. And we saw it with, going all the way back to, like, Peyton Manning, or even John Elway way back in the day, Baker Mayfield last year. Who was another quarterback a couple of years ago, one of the big names, like Cam Newton. Guys like that come on.
Your first-round picks are always going to play.
Yeah. And
even Lamar Jackson was the last pick in the first round last year. I mean,
right.
was a backup until he was the most important player on the Ravens. So,
but like in baseball, the guy will get picked first, and you're like, "Well, see you in 5 years." And that's why it's not exciting to watch, because I don't know that it would be even if it weren't the case. But this is something. It's just the way the NFL draft's presented too. The football is just such a sport. 16 games is just, you can make so much more of an impact with little things in that sport.
Football is fantastic at making itself
really important.
Really important and really TV friendly.
It really is. It's a sport that, well, we've talked about it a gazillion times, where it's better on TV in every single aspect. There's not a thing about being at a game that's better than watching it at home.
Oh no, you're at a game. It's kind of a slog.
Yeah, especially you're watching, they're just standing around in commercial breaks and stuff. But yeah, it's the drafts. I mean, give ESPN all the credit. They had the idea. The NFL thought they were idiots, and they pulled it off. And now it's going to be on ABC this year. I think it's being simulcast on ABC. Or they're doing side by side.
It's not simulcast.
They're doing a side by side, like an ESPN and an ABC broadcast, right?
Right, and they're I think they said the ABC version is going to use the College Game Day crew,
Robin Roberts and College Game Day,
and they're going to try to use more like the college angle of these players, and then ESPN's going to be more the NFL angle of the players.
Yeah.
I don't know how exactly that's going to work or why the hell you would want. I think there's going to be 4 different draft broadcasts this year.
Well, the NFL Network's got it too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have the NFL Network, you have ESPN, you have ABC, and I think I could swear that there was one more.
Maybe Yahoo or somebody's going to do it online.
I don't remember. I can look it up. But yeah, you don't need this many different angles of the same event.
But you know what the funny thing about the draft is too, is that, again, it's basically you're watching TV to watch a guy hand another guy a card. But I find myself getting totally caught up in it. Who are they going to pick? What's going to happen here? Blah, blah, blah. It's somehow or another, they've made it entertaining television in a way that I think even if every NHL player and every MLB player and every NBA player had the same impact, still wouldn't be as entertaining for some reason. I just don't know what it is, but that NFL draft is a thing. It's like the Pro Bowl. It sucks you in whether you want to watch it or not. Maybe not the Pro Bowl, but you get the idea. It's a show that, like, you go, and then the next thing you know, you've watched an hour and a half of it.
When I said 4 networks, I guess if ESPN Deportes has its own version. So
there you go.
I don't know if that's that different, but
no, but there's a big enough audience that they have a Spanish language version of it, so that gives you an idea.
Yeah.
And it'll get bigger ratings in the World Series, and definitely bigger ratings than the hockey playoffs and Stanley Cup will. It's ridiculous.
It's just amazing because not only is it all 7 rounds will be on ABC as well, and the first round on Thursdays in prime time. The second and third rounds on Friday are on prime time, and then Saturdays during the day. But the fact that they can get the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft on a broadcast network in prime time is absurd.
And it was, 30 years ago, roughly 35 years ago, when ESPN went. I think the first one they did was in 84, maybe. And the league was like, sure, if you want, we don't get it, but whatever, go ahead. And look at it now. So I don't know. I don't know who the guy was that thought up the idea, but that dude, he should be coasting on that for the rest of his career because he really created a monster.
The first NFL draft presented by ESPN was 1980. So
80?
80.
Oh wow! I thought it. Wow. Okay. Boy,
yeah, so
I'd like to go back and watch a little bit of that. That was probably terrible.
It was 40 years of the NFL draft.
I mean, it was probably literally just a bunch of guys in a Marriott conference room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember they would show pictures from it before I started televising it. And you're right, Mike. It would be like they would be in a conference room or at a hotel with a table with their helmet and a telephone on it. And that's all it was. That was it. Just so you could kind of tell who was who with like a card that read like Cleveland Browns or New England Patriots, whoever. And that was the extent of it. That was the whole thing. And it looked like people were smoking in the rooms back then. So it just looked like the smoke-filled, nasty-ass conference room that somehow turned into what we see now, which is, the big stage and the screens and the whole bit. Where's it? It's in Nashville this year, right?
I'm trying to pull that up. It was also announced, it was in Nashville, and ABC also announced today that Robin Roberts will be the anchor for the ABC portion of it.
Robin Roberts and the ABC and the College Game Day guys. That might be interesting. We'll have to see. But anyway, I don't know how we got down the draft rabbit hole, but
The AAF.
AAF, right. And Mike and I's Orlando Apollos.
Yes.
No longer undefeated.
No longer undefeated. That's okay. That we can still win the Alliance Bowl. What are they even calling it?
They're calling it. They're just calling it the Alliance Championship game.
Okay.
Which, I mean, points for brevity, I suppose, but you know.
Yeah, points for not trying to make it bigger than what it is. I like that too. How are we doing financially, though? Is the league still having issues?
The league hasn't folded.
Well,
so.
That's yeah. Paychecks aren't bouncing.
Yeah, no. I think we've gone a few weeks now without like a major financial crisis. So this is good.
Not only that, but when I was watching, the Crew had on white jerseys today, so they must have a little bit of extra money laying around because they were wearing white.
Yeah, no, they got Clash jerseys now for
Does everybody have them now?
Yeah, we've only seen them so far for I think Orlando, Memphis, and San Diego.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's been everyone has their standard uniform, and that's sort of that, which I guess is fine. But
I don't mind the color on color as long as it's not too close together, or you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, that's what they came up with the Clash jersey idea, right? Because
what are we? 16. I should probably, before we go any further, explain to those of you that were tuning in for the Glorious Tournament of Victory Selection Show. That's not going to be until next week's show. So sorry that we got confused over the dates and all that, but we were a week ahead of ourselves when we announced it last week. It's actually going to be on next week's shows when we're doing the selection show and all that. So you're getting a regular show this week. Then we will do the selection show, and the GTOV will be right on schedule with everything, and we'll be good to go. So sorry about that. I should probably put a little disclaimer at the beginning, but you know what? Screw them. Let them listen for 17 minutes to find out what's going on.
You know what?
That's good radio.
They should care as much about the AAF as we do, Greg.
Everybody should. I think everybody should.
Our little corner of the internet, the sportslogos.net boards.
Yeah,
I am amazed at how much that thread grows day by day. The amount of focus on the AAF from
it's not
is intense.
It's not a bad league. I think the quality. Granted, it's not the NFL, but I think it's an entertaining product.
Yeah, me too. I enjoy watching it. Yeah. It's fun. It's fun.
I haven't caught any of it because I don't know. I find other things to do with my Saturdays and Sundays.
Listen to him talking he just took a big shot at us without making it sound like he took a big shot at us.
No.
I'm not like you two losers. I actually have things to do.
No, that's not what I meant. What I meant was it's people are always talking about the America craves football all the time, football, and it's we crave NFL football all the time. I don't know if the actual sport. If anything, it's sure, if it was on in the background, I might look at it. But I don't think now that we're 3-4 weeks into it. How many weeks are we in this?
Just like week 5.
Week 5 or 6, yeah.
See, what the hell do I know? I just don't think that it's as big of a market. There's a niche for it, and obviously it's getting.
I should explain too. I'm not going out of my way looking for it. If I happen to run across it, I watch it. But I'm not sitting there going, oh man, 20 minutes of the Apollos game. So it's not like that. It's just one of those things. If it's on, and I think once regular baseball starts, I'll probably lose interest quick. Because yesterday, I watched the NASCAR race. If there was AAF on, I didn't watch any of it because I was watching the NASCAR race.
The thing about it is that I think what's really interesting is that ratings wise they seem to be doing all right.
Yeah.
They're not blowing the doors off of anyone, but I think I saw something where the AAF's average ratings on the NFL network, because this league's being broadcast on the NFL network, which is kind of crazy. But it's they're outdrawing some NHL and MLS games.
Wow. Well,
which I think Zach's right. These aren't amazingly huge numbers or anything, but at the same time, it's there's a niche for it. It's right. Profitable, I guess.
Yeah. I think it's just. By the way, guys, some breaking news here for you. I'm officially going to be taking over the Bortles Facts fan account because.
Are you really?
Well, no, because Blake Bortles might just be the Rams' backup quarterback next season.
Oh, I was so hoping he was going to the Raiders.
It sounds like, according to ESPN, he's finalizing a deal to be Jared Goff's backup in Los Angeles.
You know what? I wouldn't be a bit surprised. I don't think this will happen.
Sean McVay sprinkles his pixie dust on him.
Right, and he turns into a pretty solid player. I wouldn't bet on it, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it wouldn't surprise me that much if it did. Because the kid had moments where he was pretty good, but boy, when he sucked, he sucked bad. Wow. But yes, you'll be taking over the account. We can put it under the Bass umbrella. That'll be great.
No, that'd be great. I should reach out to him, see if he needs help, because he was a Jacksonville fan, so I could be his. You
could be the LA correspondent. There you go. Yeah. Bortles with the Rams. Well, you know what though? If McVay sees something in him, maybe. I don't know. I really thought he was going to the Raiders. I thought Gruden would pull that bullshit. I'm a quarterback whisperer. I can make anybody good.
No, he's already doing that with Nate Peterman. That's like a full-time project.
Well,
that's true.
You know what?
That's true.
If he turns Nate Peterman into a legitimate, and I'm not talking like a star, I'm just talking like a competent NFL quarterback, I'll take back every bad thing I ever said about the guy. Everything. Not Peterman, but because some things you just can't take back. I mean, 5 interceptions and a half. Sorry. But Gruden, yeah, I will give Gruden credit if he pulls it off. I don't think he will, but I'll give him credit if he does. I'll say that.
Yeah, and also over on the NFL quarterback movement, the Fitzmagic show, staying in Florida.
Yeah.
He's a Dolphin.
Dolphin now. Boy, that Dolphins quarterback situation, not, well.
Who is even the starter?
Well, it's got to be
Can we get a Dolphins quarterback jersey? Is that possible? Can we get a Dolphins quarterback jersey?
What, since Marino?
Yeah.
Oh, God. If you went back since Marino, it'd probably be longer than the Browns, I bet.
I mean, who's the didn't Marino retire around the time the new Browns came into the league?
I thought he retired
like 99,
before that.
right? Like,
I thought it was like 95 or 96.
Ooh, here we go. I have list of Miami Dolphins starting quarterbacks. Here we go. Mm-hmm. So Dan Marino started his last game for the Dolphins in 99.
Was that the game where they got beat by the Jags like 62-3 or whatever?
Yes.
I'm seeing because they also have Brock Heward starting a few games that season. So I don't know.
His last game, I remember seeing it on what's that, SB Nation?
Okay, yeah,
videos.
Dan Marino's last game was 62-7 against the Jaguars.
Right.
Ugh.
Yeah.
All right. So
that Jags
Dan Marino
tough,
started the final game of the 99 season. So since then, we have Jay Fiedler.
Fiedler. Oh.
Jay Fiedler looked like a guy that won a contest when he would put on a football uniform.
He won a contest to be the Dolphins quarterback.
Damon Heward, who was Marino's backup there last couple seasons. Ray Lucas.
I remember Ray Lucas.
Brian Greasy.
Oh, yeah. I remember Brian Greasy.
Sure. Yeah, that was the old the legacy thing, take over his dad's old team as the quarterback. Sure.
Yeah.
Greasy had a couple of good games for the Broncos. A couple of good games. I mean, that's hardly a career, but he had a couple of good games for the Broncos.
A.J. Feely.
Another guy that looked like he won a contest.
Sage Rosenfels.
Remember him?
Yeah.
Didn't he go to Washington? Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Or Washington State?
I believe so.
One of the two.
Gus Frerotte.
The great Gus Frerotte, yes.
The immortal Gus Frerotte. Yes.
The guy who celebrated a touchdown by headbutting a concrete wall.
Headbutting putting himself on the DL, I think, in the process.
Yeah.
God damn.
Dante Culpepper.
Yeah.
Joey Harrington.
I had completely forgotten Dante Culpepper was a Dolphin.
Joey Harrington, remember him? Number 1 pick of the Lions that one year. They thought going to be the big thing and wasn't.
Cleo Lemon.
What a great name.
Trent Green.
Cleo Lemon is one of those lucky NFL quarterbacks who never has to do anything, but he keeps getting paid.
Yeah, he is one of those guys. What was the next one?
Trent Green.
Trent Green.
Okay,
that's great.
The Wally Pipp of the St. Louis Rams.
Yep, yeah, that's true. John Beck.
Oh wow.
Ooh.
Yeah, exactly, Mike. I remember John Beck, but he was a who guy back then.
I don't even remember. I don't remember John. And I'm fairly good at this stuff. I don't
Well, hey, Zach, wasn't John Beck one of the guys that was with the Cardinals that one year that they had all those quarterback problems?
Boy, I don't know.
Or am I thinking of a different guy?
Okay. How many?
No, he didn't. He never played for the Cards. He was a BC Lion, though. Mike.
Hey.
I don't follow the West. Come on.
He follows the American Alliance of Football, but doesn't follow the CFL West. Anyway.
Okay, it's just like Saskatoon and some guys, all right?
That's the CFL stuff teams, basically?
I mean, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But like, okay, John Beck, how many games did he start for the Dolphins? Do you have that available?
Four games.
Okay.
I remember him. I mean, I couldn't tell you anything more about him.
This is only 2007, by the way.
I remember every other name that Zach said so far except John Beck.
We're getting. I mean, this is going to be longer than the Browns list, right?
Okay.
It's up there. So 2008. In 2008, we get since Dan Marino retired in '99, the Dolphins had a 16-game season by Jay Fiedler. They didn't get another 16-game quarterback starting season until 2008 when their AFC East rival, Chad Pennington, took over the reins.
Wow, I forgot about him.
I remember that. That was the year when Favre kicked him out of New York, and then Pennington and the Dolphins beat the Jets at like the
right to go to the playoffs.
Go to the playoffs, the last game of the season. Right.
Yeah. I always thought Pennington was going to be a better player than he turned out to be.
Yeah, Pennington then started 3 games the next season before being replaced by Chad Henne.
Oh, Chad Henne. Good Michigan guy.
Michigan man. Tyler Thigpen.
Tyler Thigpen, remember him?
I remember Tyler Thigpen.
He was from one of those Big 12 teams. I don't remember which one. Maybe Texas Tech or Oklahoma State.
He went to Coastal Carolina.
Coastal Carolina. Wow, where did I get that he was from the Big 12? I must be thinking of someone else.
I don't know. He also went on he played a little bit with the Chiefs and the Bills and your Browns. He's on the Browns jersey.
Coastal Carolina, home of they're called the Chandeliers or something like that.
The Chanticleers. They're
close enough.
The Chandeliers.
Might as well be.
Chad Pennington got one more game in there. Chad Henne again. Matt Moore,
he's still around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he continued to play games for them until 2017, where he was the backup. Ryan Tannehill had 4 consecutive 16-start seasons.
Wow.
When he came to the
Dolphins.
Dolphins.
Perhaps their better judgment.
Then Matt Moore again, then Jay Cutler, then Matt Moore, then Ryan Tannehill, and Brock Osweiler.
I forgot about the Jay Cutler experiment that I was so sure was going to work.
I thought it was going to work too.
Well, he was supposed to be in the broadcast booth that year.
Yeah, remember he was going to go. It was 2 years ago.
Didn't they call him at the last second? Like, hey,
they called him the week before the season started.
You know, it's funny too. After he did that, no broadcast booth is called since that I know of.
Yeah, he hasn't gone back.
They were kind of like, hey, you know what? Screw you, man. I mean, because you don't do that. That's kind of shitty, really. So how many is that total? Do we know? That's close to Browns territory.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
19?
19.
How many?
19 quarterbacks in 19 years.
I can't get just a straight number here with the Browns. Let me see. It's close to that. It's pretty sure. Oh, here we go. How many quarterbacks have the Browns had since 1999? Oh, 27. Dude, they're not even in the ballpark yet. The Dolphins.
God. They're in the same league, but not the Browns.
19, and the Browns beat that by 8 in the same amount of time. 8. Wow. That was from 17. So no, there's even more now because let's see. So in 18 they had. Oh.
Well, see, the thing that derailed the Dolphins, if you will, was Jay Fiedler was the starting quarterback for 4 seasons,
and Ryan Tannehill for 3, right?
Right. Well, Jay Fiedler was the starter for 4 seasons. He started 15 one year, 16 another, 10 and 11. Then Tannehill for the 4 years, and then 5 years because he had basically Tannehill's been the starter 6 of the last 7 seasons for the Dolphins. But
As of April 26, 2018, that number for the Browns was up to 28. So now we can take last season, we can add Tyrod Taylor and Baker Mayfield. So it's 30 now since 1999. Wow.
Where the Dolphins I think the Dolphins have to be the second highest team in that list.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what about the Jets?
Oh, boy.
You got a team like the Jets. Who else is bounced quarterback? Well, the Bills have got to have a pretty – I don't think it's anywhere in the 19 to 30 range, but they got to have a pretty solid number, too, I would think.
Here, I'm going to count at the Jets.
How many starting quarterbacks have the Patriots had since 1999? 2. Well, 3 if you count Matt Castle the year Brady was injured.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
since
to start 99. A game, though, there's also been like, Jacoby, what's his name? Brissett. Yeah, he started a couple, but nothing like that.
So are we counting the year 99 or since 99?
I find something on the website.
Hold on a minute. My Siri's talking to me here. Are we counting what?
Are we counting 99 or since 99?
Well, for the Browns,
we have to count 99.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you're counting 99 for the Dolphins, you get Dan Marino's final season and Damon Heward. Well, so you just add 1. So, 18?
Yeah.
I think the Jets are kind of stuck here because they had Pennington for those years. Vinny Testaverde had a couple good years.
Right.
Mark Sanchez is in there.
Yeah, maybe not as bad as I thought.
They don't have as many.
Yeah.
The Sanchez.
So let's see.
The Sanchez.
Really, it's kind of the Browns and the Dolphins off the top of my head because I was thinking about the Cardinals, but they had Kurt Warner for a long time and what's his name? Carson Palmer. So it'd be tough. It'd be tough to get into that league, the like 15 plus number, I think. Oh, this list ranks the Browns.
17 for the Jets also.
Wow. Yeah, I'd say probably the Bills maybe in that range too, but I think everybody else is pretty stable. Like the Bengals, let's see, they had Carson Palmer, and then they got what's his name, Andy Dalton, who are the bulk of it. I mean, I'm sure there's other guys that started in there, but they're the bulk of that era. Lions, maybe before Matt Stafford, they had a lot of guys bounce in and out.
Your Buffalo Bills. So including 99, Doug Flutie's final year as the starter there in Buffalo. Oh, this one's pretty good. This one might do it. Let's see. So we got Flutie, Rob Johnson, Alex Van Pelt, Bledsoe, J.P. Lossman, Kelly Holcomb.
Kelly Holcomb, former Brown. He's on the list.
Trent Edwards.
I don't think he's a former Brown.
Fitzmagic, Brian Brom.
From Louisville.
E.J. Manuel gets us to 10. Thad Lewis, 11. Jeff Toole. Kyle Orton.
They're close. You got to add.
They have some technicalities in here. Matt Castle technically started a game for the Bills due to the Bills' first offensive play having Tyrod Taylor at wide receiver. So does Matt Castle count then?
He started the game.
Yeah, he did.
Yep.
Josh Allen, 17. Derek Anderson, 18.
Oh, another Brown, Derek Anderson.
19.
There's a lot of crossover here, isn't there?
Yeah, well, you've got 30 quarterbacks. Yeah, there are going to be a few. So basically, it's the Browns, Dolphins, Bills, and Jets. Can we think of any other teams that were like that?
I think those kind of take the cake because when you think of the last 20 years of football, what teams have been the worst?
Those guys.
Those are your list.
Some guy had the police called on him celebrating the Odell Beckham Jr. trade. His neighbors thought he was like killing his wife or something. He was so excited. So they called the cops. I was like, only a Browns fan. People are pretty psyched about that deal here.
I mean, why wouldn't you be? There's nothing that could go wrong, right, Cleveland?
Don't even say that. Don't even say that in jest. That's not funny.
First play of the season, OBJ breaks his leg.
No, he'll never even get that. He's going to fall down a flight of stairs at the training center. The first day they open up for off-season workouts, he'll fall down a flight of steps. Probably land on Baker Mayfield, and that'll be that. Did anybody pay any attention at all to the college basketball selection show or any of that?
Oh no,
I
had passing interest in a couple of the conference tournaments.
I tried. I did. I tried to watch a couple of the games on TV, like on CBS, the bigger, like I think I watched some of the Big Ten tournament. Tried to watch a little bit of the, I think it was the SEC. No, the Big 12. I can't take it. I just can't take it.
There was a local TV station in Alabama that was reporting on Auburn winning the tournament, and whoever was in charge of the graphics did a bad job.
Oh.
Because it said Auburn wins the SEX tournament.
Well, maybe they did. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know if you should be talking about the college team winning the sex tournament.
Yeah, well, maybe a tournament they don't televise, but they might have performed very well in it. We just don't know. No, I really did. And like same with the NBA this year. I have tried a couple of times. Now it's even more impossible because you can't tell who is who with the uniforms. I don't think that anybody had what happened with the Lakers and LeBron this year predicted. And
nope.
Yeah.
And that's kind of killed my buzz. Like I told you guys, I was ready to start following it, and just
so was I. And
it just never took off.
Do you think that now? Let me ask you this. I just saw this on an article, I think on ESPN or The Ringer or somewhere. Is this just an off season for him? Or is he starting to come down the other side of the hill and the Lakers got him at the wrong time?
He's fine. I mean, he had the one bit of injury this year, but he's fine. The team just had more problems than adding LeBron would fix.
I agree.
So they're still in the middle of an overhaul. So
like I said last week, the thing that killed them this year was that botched Anthony Davis deal. Because all of a sudden, everybody in that team except LeBron's like, "What do they want me here or don't they? I don't even know."
100%.
That's what screwed them. That's what LeBron will do for your team, LA fans. Just want to tell you, I've watched this shit happen year after year in Cleveland with him.
Yeah,
great player, but he does come with a few problems built in.
It'll get fixed.
Yeah,
I have no qualms about that. But
wow, we're only 10 games away from the hockey playoffs getting started here.
That we are.
Yeah,
well, that'll get
what
good.
Is that the second week of April? Yeah, this merciful march to the end for these Ducks, but they've been fun the last 2 weeks. They've been better. It's just amazing what happens when you fire the coach everyone hates.
Believe me, I know exactly how you felt. When you can sit there and watch it, you guys saw it with the Browns this year. I mean, it was just so obvious that the coach needed to go. And I imagine it was the same thing with Randy Carlisle and the Ducks. It's just like everybody that was watching you going, my God, what are they thinking?
Yeah, hell, I mean, if you look at the Browns, you say if you fired them at the beginning of the season or after the first couple weeks, maybe you're in the playoffs. I say the same things about the Ducks. If you fired Randy Carlisle when you were supposed to fire him the first goddamn time, then you probably make the playoffs still. But here they are. Yeah.
Well, at least they're ahead of the Kings.
Yeah, the Kings have. Unlike the Ducks, at least have a farm system that they're kind of starting to dig into. The Kings have screwed up their last 10 years a little bit too much. They put it all in to win those cups, but all these players that they've tried to, groom to be the next generation, none of them have hit. And so they're in not only are they bad and their contracts are weighing them down, they have no young players to rely on, and there's nothing in the system. So they're in a real spot.
You're going to be a while unless they spend some money on free agency or something then, huh?
Or, have to make some bad trades. But, all these guys, they're in a similar position as the Ducks were, where, the Ducks, the Blackhawks, and the Kings are all in the same situation where you have these legacy players from your cup-winning teams that you have to pay and have to give no trade clauses. And then what happens when the bottom kind of falls out and you're stuck with all these guys that can't move. Yeah,
but they got what? How many cups did they win? 2?
The Kings won 2, the Blackhawks won 3, Ducks won 1.
Yeah, so I mean, is it worth 2 cups to a Kings fan to go through this? I don't know. I think probably. Look at the Tampa Bay Lightning. Look at my goodness, 55-13-4. That's pretty good. 114 points already. That's like a season for a lot of teams.
They're on pace for breaking the points record, I think.
Wow.
Not that but the thing with the Lightning is as we've said multiple times, and Mike will, is quick to remind them because he's not a big fan. It doesn't matter if you don't win.
Yeah, like.
Well, I mean, we've had the discussion too. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, this is a team that, last year, highest scoring offense in the league. Last 2 games, the Eastern Conference Finals, went scoreless, lost to the eventual Cup champs. So it's one of these things where it's like, and I think a lot of people don't realize it because, like, the Lightning as a franchise do have a cup way back in 2003.
Yeah.
They won it. And so 2003 or 2004. And so people, that tends to kind of, I guess, change people's perception. But this current Lightning core, like, if they don't win a cup soon, like, we are reaching, like, San Jose Sharks levels of futility.
Yeah.
If they can't do it. And so, like, I don't know if they will or not. They look mighty impressive this year, but they've looked impressive in the regular season before. It's going to all come down to what happens in the playoffs.
Well, that's the thing, too, with the playoffs and the President's Trophy and all that. We've seen it how many times, but I haven't seen him play this year, so I don't know, but that's an impressive record.
I mean, what happened to the President's Trophy winners last year?
Wasn't that the Caps?
No.
Oh, it was Nashville.
Hey, they hung a banner for it. Remember?
It was Nashville.
Not
right?
only did they hang a banner for it, they hang a banner for Western Conference regular season champions.
Yeah. Whatever that means.
Which one would think would be implied by winning the President's Trophy, but
I don't. I know that the Lightning are like a juggernaut this year, but I think because in past performance. Well, in sports, it sometimes does indicate future performance, but I don't have a lot of faith in them. But then I look at that and I'm like, okay, who's going to knock them off?
I mean,
the problem that they're going to face is they also happen to be in the toughest division in the league right now. So yeah, they're going to blow up whoever the hell they play in the first round, but they're going to have to play either Toronto or Boston in the second round, and one of those teams will have like the second and third best records in the league too.
Yeah.
When it's all said and done, so.
And then assuming they get past that in the conference finals, they would probably end up having to play. Right now, it's looking like either the Islanders, the Caps, or the Penguins, and those are 3 good teams.
The Islanders actually had their number this year too.
Yeah, I mean that's Trotz who in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, so. I mean, I don't think it's as solid as – I don't think the Lightning are as much of a gimme to make the cup as everyone thinks they are because, tough division, tough conference in the other end of it. So –
Well, not only that, but doesn't this have like first or second round flame out just written all over it? To me, it does. Just a gut feeling, but it's just like –
It's hard to say because, like, having seen them, a little bit, they are just that dominant. They're that good, but
do they have that Blackhawks gear that they had when they were winning cups? Like that gear where they just go, okay, fuck you, we're going to win now?
It's not the same because the Blackhawks gear was based on confidence and the other team knowing that they're playing the because like when you're playing the Lightning, it's not the same. When you were playing the Blackhawks, even if you were ahead, it's like we got to kill these guys because if they don't, they will find that gear. And so you were living in constant fear, whereas with the Lightning, they haven't earned that reputation quite yet.
The Lightning, I would describe it's not so much as like the gear, like we can just win now, as much as it is like – honestly, I think a lot of what accounts for the juggernaut status this year is the fact that they burned out in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. And I think a lot of it is just hunger because like a lot of people last year – we're saying it's Stanley Cup or bust.
Yeah.
And then they came out on fire this year, and now people are saying, okay, well, now it's this year, it's Stanley Cup or bust. Like, so I think what happened is like they came out this season kind of angry and pissed off and hungry. They had a talented team, and they racked up a lot of wins, but like, playoffs are playoffs, right? You can tear through a schedule feasting on teams like the Flyers and the Panthers, if you're all hopped up on your own rage, but when you've got to play either Boston or Toronto in a best of 7 series and they're getting just as good a look at you as you are at them. That's
well, not only that, but this team, like, what do they do? Like, let's just say, for example, in the first round, they come out and they pull a Washington last year and they lose the first two. How do they respond to that? Like some teams will respond well, and others go, "Oh shit," and fold up the tents.
Well, the thing is, and I think, and I honestly do believe this is the Achilles heel of the team. I honestly believe if it were not for this one thing, then this Lightning team would have a cup or two by now, and that's John Cooper. Like, the dude has proven that if you are able, better coaches have proven that, like, they can match him tit for tat. They can mess with his line. They can throw monkey wrenches into his line plans, and he doesn't know how to respond. He doesn't know how to adjust lines to account for other coaches changing things up on the fly. And he doesn't really understand. He has proven that he can't really combat it when a team comes in there and manages to beat the Lightning at their own game. Like, we've seen that a few times. Most notably, I think, like, about like a week ago or so, Minnesota, the freaking Minnesota Wild, who are currently not even in a playoff spot, have a negative 15 goal differential, came in and pants them just by basically playing hyper physically and getting up in their face and not giving the Lightning offenses time to really play their finesse game that's worked so well. Yeah. But, like, the Wild just came in, got physical, and Cooper as a coach really didn't know how to respond to that. So I think, honestly, he's going to be the reason why if they don't win it all.
And not to mention, they do lead the league in goals scored, just total, but they also lead the league in the power play. Mm-hmm. I was trying to look for it, but I can't find like percentage of their power play goals. Even if you took their power play goals off their total, they'd still lead the league in goals, or they'd be they'd be top 10 in goals still. But you don't get those power plays in the playoffs.
I was just going to say that you're not going to get as many. At least you're going to get some, but you're not going to get the same number you get in a regular season. No way. No.
Like, they're blowing out teams. The playoff games aren't 5-2. Playoff games are 3-2, 4-3 at most. Mm-hmm. So in theory they should blow people out, but it's also the playoffs, and we've seen it time and time and again with teams like Vegas or the Mighty Ducks in 2003, or the Oilers when they went to the final,
or the Sharks.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. I
get these teams that they just find ways to eke it out. Look at last year. The Stanley Cup champion Washington Capitals were a single shot away from being down 3-0 in the first round, and found their way to win that game, move all the way to the Stanley Cup. It literally, as it is on their feet, it's on a knife's edge of these playoff games.
All they need to do, honestly, all they need to do is come up against either a Boston or Toronto team that's pissed off and hungry.
Oh yeah,
and like.
Or if it gets that far, or if if it gets that far, like Washington or Pittsburgh, who have cup, especially the Penguins, who have a couple cups in their pocket and have been there.
Or hell, even the Islanders, who Barry Trotz seems to have a John Cooper voodoo doll these days, and he's just.
Would the Islanders make the playoffs last year?
No.
So Barry Trotz is a pretty good coach then, basically.
Well, yeah, because not only did he get to a not great team with okay goaltending that lost they also lost John Tavares, their best player. Mm-hmm. And now they're, where they are in terms of the standings based on him, based on bringing his goaltender coach with him to coach up the Islanders goaltenders. He's going to win the coach of the year, just bar none, but,
what does that tell you, Ducks? Really, come on.
Or hell, Capitals, what the hell were you thinking?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, the Ducks should have fired Randy Carlyle after losing to the Sharks, and they could have hired Barry Trotz, and whatever.
Yeah, Barry.
But I'm serious. So like I said before, with the whole coaching thing, when you can tell a guy needs to go, he needs to go. So I'm just saying.
Speaking of Tampa in the playoffs, if the playoffs started today, they would play your Columbus Blue Jackets, Greg.
Oh. I don't like that matchup for my Blue Jackets too much.
The Beach have pulled themselves together in the last 2 weeks. They were right after the trade deadline. They were in a spiral.
Yeah, after they traded everything to win now, it was not looking good first.
Like I said last week, Sergei Bobrovsky, he doesn't necessarily fall apart in the playoffs. He's just a little shaky. And, you got a team that's on pace to score a record amount of goals against a goalie that, while not terrible in the playoffs, has not really acquitted himself greatly either. That's what I don't like about it. I mean, you never know, but if that's the way it matches up, that's the way it matches up. But as with all playoff hockey, basically, it comes down to the goalie. And, Bobrovsky he made the playoffs now 3 times? This will be 4? Or this third time? Since he's been with them.
He did make the playoffs once with Philly, I believe, right?
What I'm talking about with the Jackets, though, is this the second or third?
With the Jackets, this would be the third
trip, right?
I mean, currently looking at the standings, the only 2 teams who have technically clinched a playoff series. Are we looking at a rematch of the 2004 Stanley Cup Finals, Lightning Flames?
No, that Calgary team is such a paper tiger.
I've heard a lot of people say that. I have.
They're going to get shredded. I don't see how the hell they pulled that thing together. But
they play Arizona in the first round if the playoffs started today. But
by the way, the Coyotes are not a good team.
No, they're not. They've got a -5 goal differential, and
yeah. The only teams in the wild card hunt right now in the West, there are 2 that have plus goal differentials.
Yeah, I'm looking at the bottom of this Western Conference. 6. I'm looking at the bottom of this Western Conference. Jesus Christ, West! What the hell happened?
Hey, bottom fell out for a lot of us.
Well, Colorado's back. 4 points? They with 10 games to play.
Yeah,
they got a shot. They got a shot.
Hey, hell, you know who's still technically alive? The Blackhawks.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I was telling Zach during a break last week, watch Chicago go on a run and win the West.
Hell, technically speaking, the Ducks are only 9 points out.
I mean, they're probably
8 games to play.
I mean, the Blackhawks will probably go on a tear, get into the playoffs, win the West, probably beat St. Louis on the way to it.
Oh, of course.
Oh, those poor Blues.
Right now, well, the Blues are going to have to play either Nashville or Winnipeg. I don't know which one is the best option.
No, the Blues will play Nashville, and Nashville with its, stupid regular season banner will get upset by the Blues. The Blues will gain some false sense of confidence.
Yep.
Go to play Winnipeg and lose.
Yep,
and lose
exactly.
And lose 4 games to 1, and then
Oh, no, Mike. They'll lose in 6. And here's how it'll happen. They'll be up 3-1. Would that work out? Yeah. And lose in 6.
No, you know what? And that Greg will look stupid because in our playoff predictions, Greg will be like, "This is the year that the Blues break through."
Nope. Not doing it this year. I'm sorry. I am not doing it this year. I say that now, but when we get there, I'll do it again. But right now, I don't plan on it.
Yeah, no, because here's what's going to happen.
I can't quit him. What am I supposed to do? I can't quit him.
We're going to be talking about it, and then you're going to go. This is what you're going to do, Greg. You're going to go. The more I think about it, the more I think this could be the Blues year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Mark it down, listeners, right now. He's describing a conversation we're going to be having in 2 weeks, pretty much verbatim. Wait and see.
I had that. They went on that winning streak, and their goaltending is spurred by their goal. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. They have a coach of the year candidate. Sure. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well, what I will do is I will spend the next 2 weeks talking myself out of it, and then when we get there, I'll jump right back in because that's what Greg, I always do.
I need you to watch every Blues game between now and the playoffs, and just ride that wave.
I wish I could.
Just ride the wave of empty hopes and false promises.
Dude, I can't quit them. We've been doing this show 7 years now. I can't quit the Blues. I don't know what it is about that team. I refuse to give up on them. I've quit on all my other teams. I've forget it. Fuck you guys, but not these guys.
Look at what happened to the Capitals, man. You just got to believe it can happen.
Yeah.
It can happen eventually.
Well, Zach was the only one that stuck with the Caps all the way through to the end.
He did, yes.
Yeah.
I did.
Which I commend you for because
I said, "What the hell? Let's do it."
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. It has to happen one of these years. It has to happen. The Caps did it. My Blues can do it too.
Well, the difference is the Capitals were at the top of the conference for 10 years.
Well, I know.
The Blues have not been.
Well, I know, but they still something good's got to happen eventually.
Yeah,
the law of big numbers says so.
Hey,
yes,
look,
then you could say the same thing that, maybe it'll happen for the Sharks this time finally. Or,
the Sharks finally broke through and got to the finals.
Hey, the Sharks. The Sharks are probably going to end up playing Vegas in the first round of these standings holds.
God,
I can't wait, man. I love playoff hockey as long as my team's not involved.
That is another asteroid series if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, Sharks night. Like, can you
just meteor the damn thing. Meteor.
Wow, look at my poor old Rangers. They're not even within shouting distance of the playoffs, are they?
I mean, I guess it's always
we kind of called that. Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
I'm just saying that like a Sharks night series could be entertaining in some regards. If the Sharks like have another reverse sweep or something, like it would mean that Vegas gets to advance again, which fuck them. But still, laughing at the Sharks, man, that's hard to pass up.
I could think of nothing that I would want to watch less than a Calgary-Vegas second round.
I'd watch it for Calgary.
Who would Calgary? Calgary. Yeah. Okay. So Calgary
right now would be playing Arizona, which again
they could probably win that because
all of those games will be featured on the Golf Network.
Hey, you know what? The Senators can't make it, so who can I root for that obscure? Okay, you know what? Carolina.
Oh God.
Winnipeg Stanley Cup Finals. Let's have NBC Sports combust.
Well, I guess technically you could root for Carolina, Arizona, the relocation bowl.
What? No love for my Blue Jackets to fuck things up in the TV?
No, because I'm trying to think of like the teams.
Carolina would be worse than Columbus making the final, right? As far as TV ratings go, absolutely. Yeah.
But you know what I need, Mike? Arizona is not that far from moving up into that second wild card where they could potentially play Winnipeg.
Oh, that would be fun, actually.
Could you imagine Arizona, Winnipeg? The fans in Winnipeg.
Oh my God!
The catharsis they would get.
Oh my God!
How butthurt they'd be the instant that they have that first home game. The Arizona Coyotes hosting a whiteout against the Winnipeg Jets in the playoffs. Oh my God! I couldn't imagine. Like the people in Winnipeg would just have a conniption.
I mean, you'd probably see a lot of passive-aggressive Canadian media about it because that's just how we roll. I get Don Cherry would lose his fucking mind.
How dare they do the whiteout against the team that was the whiteout?
I would. You know what though, man? I would love to see a Jets crowd with the Coyotes in the building in the playoffs. That would be fucking awesome.
I mean, I'm sorry, but Zach's Don Cherry impression is fucking.
I've had practice.
I mean, yeah, no. The great thing about that, I think, just besides the hilarity, I mean, but then what's better though, if Carolina goes on a run and we get more Don Cherry angry for like the length of the playoffs.
Well, right now Carolina would be playing the Islanders.
They'd get killed.
Yeah. That's a gross series too. That's another Golf Network.
Oh, see, yeah. I like it. Once the Jackets are out, I'm probably on the Islanders. Well, I don't know. I'd have to root for Mike's Maple Leafs too, but the Islanders, I like the Islanders. I always have.
I mean, the Islanders are a cool team. I wouldn't mind them, honestly.
How many games are they playing at the Nassau Coliseum now? I mean, I know they left. They're doing like half and half, or is it more?
Yeah,
what's the breakdown?
I think they're playing the rest of the regular season at the Coliseum, and I believe they're playing the first round at the Coliseum, but any rounds after that would all be played in Brooklyn.
Oh man.
Yeah, but we get what is it? Honky the car?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he's there anymore. They've removed Honky.
They removed why?
He hasn't been there this season.
Are they going to just finally build them a new arena on Long Island?
They
and be done with it? Good, because that Brooklyn move was fucking stupid.
They're splitting it until it's done.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're building it at Belmont.
Yeah,
Belmont Park, I think.
Because that move to Brooklyn was the dumbest fucking thing ever. And for the NHL, that's saying something. I mean, come on.
And I think everybody involved is admitted as such, and that's why they even allow.
See, NFL, you can do this. You see, the NHL tried to move the Islanders to Brooklyn. It was fucking stupid. Didn't work out. They said we're going to put them back. Same thing with the Chargers. Go look, we fucked up.
No, it's not though, because it's the same market.
It is the same city. Yeah.
What I'm saying is they acknowledged
like the Chargers moved to Oceanside and it didn't work.
They acknowledged a mistake, is what I'm saying. And so they can go, yeah, we fucked up. We should have never moved the Chargers out of San Diego. Let's put them back. That's what I'm saying. It can be done. There's precedent. There's Honky.
Not only that, when searching for Honky the car, I got that picture. I also got Honky fan art.
Oh.
How great is it that they call a white car Honky the car?
Here it is. Believe in the power of dreams. Honky the Honda with his Islanders bumper sticker.
Oh, I miss you, Honky.
How could they? That was like the one redeeming thing about the move to Brooklyn was that it gave us Honky the car.
No one knows anything about anything. You got Jeter pulling that great sculpture in Miami. You got Honky being taken out of the what the hell's the name of that place in Brooklyn?
The Barclays Center.
Barclays Center. Come on.
Like, I mean, okay, well, Derek Jeter is a joyless bore. I've done over this.
Without
like
question.
he just hates fun. Like, come on, this is cool. Like, this is, if nothing else, it's unique in an NHL. So to just have a giant car.
Right. Come on. That's what I mean. It's just fun. All right. Anyway, we got anything?
But didn't they do a thing where like the headlights lit up for goals at one point?
Yes. Oh, that'd be cool.
Yes, they did.
That would be way cool. All right, boys. On that note, let's call it a night.
All right.
We've got, again, next week will be the Glorious Tournament of Victory Selection Show, and we've got NHL playoff hockey coming up, which is my favorite time of the year. I'm
honestly feeling very confident about my Glorious Tournament of Victory selection. So,
are you?
Yeah.
You're going for the three-peat this year, are you?
Pardon?
Going to think you might get the three-peat this year, huh?
Nobody's done the three-peat.
No one's ever done it.
Nobody's done the three-peat, so this is exciting to have this opportunity. I think I've got a good selection. I'm not going to spoil anything about my selection. I'm going to say this: the Rural Manitoba Conference makes another appearance.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
The surprisingly fertile Rural Manitoba Conference.
We've gotten such great things as the Sacred Moose Leg,
right?
Flin-Flon,
the Russell Manitoba Goalie Beer Thief,
right?
Yep,
yeah,
the Beer Thief, yep.
A couple of classic entries,
and we've got another one. Again, I'm not spoiling anything. If either of you two or our listeners want to maybe get a heads up on what it could be, just Google weird shit in parts of Manitoba that aren't Winnipeg.
Well, speaking of that, you've still got some time too. If you want, if there's like entries that you'd like us to take a look at, just tweet them to us at Basically Sports, or you can throw them on the boards in the Basically Sports Show thread. And you never know, one of them might make it in. I mean, we probably should have thought of that 2-3 weeks ago, but whatever. You know how it works. Yeah. So, all right, folks, on that note, we're going to call it a night. Again, follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and YouTube. And as always, thanks for listening. We will see you next time.
Later.